We were busy having breakfast, and they just walk around with a shotgun, 2 pistols and a stick, and they said, "We are going to kill you today."
Just hours after this interview was filmed, the farm was attacked.
In the name of buying the land back, we're trying to do away with individualism and greediness.
But blacks are also victims of brutal crimes. 2 white farmers tried to seal this 20-year-old into a coffin. The farmers were convicted of attempted murder last year.
No one has been forcefully removed. That's why I feel that, if that is genuine the case, and if it can be proven, we've got a good chance to probably keep our place.
We don't care. Hey, we're not scared of you. We're not scared of you. We are not scared of you.
Yes. Then what are you doing here breaking bread with black people?
Because he's a racist.
Don't come here with that white tendency. Not here. You can do it somewhere else. Not here. If you've got a tendency of undermining blacks even where you work,
and our government's concern has been to ensure that we do not only have food security as a country, but that we also have household food security.
To build bridges, you've got to go to where the divide is. I cannot build bridges on my own land. I've got to go look where the divide is and see if I can build bridges. And if those bridges can be built and it works, then we've got a blueprint for the way to go forward. And the people on the different sides, it's not just 2 sides, there are many sides. It's people with resources, people without resources, people with knowledge and skills, people without knowledge and skills. To be able to bring them together. The land question is a big question in South Africa, and the solution is going to involve everybody. And you're going to need the bridge builders to bring them together.
Hi squad, lebitso la ka ke Faith. Kajeno ke tshaketse monna a khalisang. O tlo mpontsha ho dira serabe sa dijalo. O itse ho nna ke tlise botlolo ena. Na le nka nahana for ke for eng. Tlo re lo bona.
Botlolo mona tafoleng o kgona ho e sebedisa. Ho lokile jwale? Sharp.
Ke rata haholo. Mara empa o baneng o etsa tjena.
Ra sebedisa dintho tsena batho ba di latla. Ra batla ho sebedisa recycle, reuse, reduce, repurpose. Hape ha wena wa sebedisa botlolo. Ha wena wa tshela metsi, ha ya tswa. Ya sala morao, ke conservation. And hape is a takeaway. O ka tsamaya ka yona.
I hope you guys are going to try this too. It's really easy. I can't wait to harvest my own tomatoes. Bye!
Something I love doing. I enjoy being able to share with the knowledge I have and the few successes I have to share it with other people. And you cannot have a heart when you see people trying hard, not getting it right. And you know that maybe with your assistance you could assist them to become food secure. I have seen hunger and I have seen poverty. And if we are going to wait for other people to solve it for us, we will wait for a long time. but we have it within us all to be able to make sure that we create our own food security. Interestingly enough, I grew up with my first language being an African language, and not because I grew up on a farm. My mother was a Sotho teacher, teaching white children to speak an African language. And at that stage, my father was busy with his PhD, and my father wanted to learn to speak Sesotho. So my mother said, very simple, in the household, we speak Sotho. Till to this day, my mother and I will speak Sotho to each other when we speak on the telephone. So it was, I think that broke the barriers for me, even before I could walk. Is being able to speak other people's languages. And once you do that, I think you are embedding yourself in their culture. That, I think, if you had to tell me to choose a Damascus moment, the fact that I could speak African languages.
But how many children of white farmers please speak African languages? But there's still the hierarchy. The blacks are still the farm boys. You know what I mean? And I know many farmers who speak the language, but the hierarchy is still there. So what made that? How is it possible that you looked at the black population as your equal? Or did you? Maybe you didn't. Maybe you thought you know more.
I'm the last person to say I know a lot. I will tell people that what I'm going to show them is what I've done, and I've succeeded in it. But I'm not the alpha and omega when it comes to food security. I want to have people to be able to have confidence in themselves, to take ownership of their food security. And that is something I'm good at, and that is something I'm blessed with. If it is divine intervention that I'm doing it, great. I have met many people that are more skilled than me, doing more work than me. But that's basically coming the grit of it. I cannot tell you why I am different from other people. I am surely lacking in a lot of skills. So when people say, Thabo, you're such a great guy, I actually feel embarrassed because I know that I'm not that great guy. All I'm doing is just showing people how to grow food. Most definitely, specifically when you look at the war in Ukraine, the fact that fertilizer prices have globally been impacted, sunflower prices, the oil, that other countries are embargoing and maintaining their own oil and not exporting, it's rattled the whole world economy. And a person could not believe, of all the countries in the world, that a country like Ukraine, when they are in war, that it could have such an impact. And I think that has woken up a lot of people to say, whoa, wait, I cannot be dependent on the world economy to feed me. I've got to make sure, and that's why it's called food security. You've got to be secure on your food source. Wa tseba ke bothata ha ba tlo ntso ba letsetsa ha ba arabi ha ke tsebe ke tlo etsang lebokose ya mangolo e tletse jwale ba hana ho bua dumelang jamme re spela mnate haholo
Thank you.
Okay. Re yeng re tlo sheba jwale tracker ke batla ho isa ho tracker re tlo sheba tracker
di ka mo di kgomo di nwellang ka teng.
Okay, di grip.
Then re tlo tlameha ho re nke dikgara
ya hlang teng o ka di fepa dipone dintho tseo
ha ntate wa kana ntse le teng ne re kgona ho re iketsetse dijo
Okay.
a plante jwalo re plante jwang re plante teff
Okay.
re plante le pone crops and then re be re plante le serene.
Re tlo sheba mane trateng. Na njame o tla bona re tla tswa pele.
Ke plus
Jwale mona ke ntse o sheba windpomp yane ke hao.
le yona di 12
Difate tsane ha se hao.
di fella o bona jalo ka o tsamaya
Ka trata mane difateng tshwanetse o di rekisa. Ene wa bona ha di nyoloha. Okay. So re tlo etsa tjena.
It's the same process.
One for one.
And it is a dibe bonolo because of the home dia sukudisa house na grale tshwana le lena e ba bothata. But how na le grale tjena, it makes things easier for you. And then my parents passed away last year, and then I had a friend called Papa Tito. Ana sebetsa sereng. Ka introduce ho ntate Thabo. It's working out because there is a lot of hope. I can say that, okay, yes, I lost my parent. Yes, I didn't know a way forward for me from now on. But he has encouraged me a lot. He has made me believe, okay, things may look dull now, but you are getting there. Every time hands at least about fapaneng, well, they know more about agriculture, bang inspiring, then yeah, things are getting there slowly but surely. Yeah. I think logically about us Black individuals, if someone can't speak your language, it gets it harder to understand them. So because of he knows my language, which is Sesotho, and he can be able to meet me halfway in each and everything that I'm trying to do, it gets even more friendlier to see that Hasen Nafela is not just me, Eloring Wamutusa. Utusa, he helps a lot of other Black individuals, even other youth at university and stuff like that. So the whole thing changed the logic of me thinking, Mahoa, they think this way about the farm, and us Black people, we think about this way about the farm. But he assisted me without expecting anything from me. That's where I was able to understand that, yes, these people, they're here to help us. If one can come to conclusion of, okay, men dement and then meet each other halfway. That's what he has been doing for me. So that's what gives me faith that he's not here to sabotage me or to take the land of my parents, but he's here to see, can I be better, to bring out the best in me that I'm not sure I had before, that potential and everything. Wow, that's a tricky question. For me, we still have a long way to go. The whole thing of the Asian history that happened before between the Black people and the white people, the whole thing of apartheid, I believe that it still has a long way to go, but does not mean there's no process. Apparently, if you can see, a lot of Black individuals, they take their children to schools where they will be able from a young age to speak English fluently. That's something. And then you take it from some farmers like Ntate Thabo or her daughter coming here trying to make me understand more about how to be a better bull. So it's a step-by-step thing. Whoever grieves, it's okay. And whoever is willing to work things out to say we are one, it's still okay. We all have to start somewhere. And I'm not saying that what happened in history I'm against or I'm not. But what I'm trying to say is that it's gonna take long. But as long as if there is a white individual who's trying to give you a hand, sincerely, please, white individual, take a step. And if there is one Black individual who's trying to ask help from a Black or from a white person, let's meet everyone halfway. See if it could work. Let's not force it, let's try. If it doesn't work, it's okay. If it worked, we tried.
Is the man who lost the claim for his community's ancestral land. He is also the man who will soon be chief. The community are hoping to have a chief in place and ready to govern by the time they get their title deeds. They expect that to be soon.
That at best can be described as poverty-stricken. These are people who have been these are people who have been dispossessed. People that we know that they don't have money. Therefore, it's unrealistic of anybody to just give them land and not provide any support or fund.
White South Africans who are going to say, okay, if it moves from me to everybody, well and good, because I still stand to benefit, and it's even worse, I'm benefiting with everybody else.
Whether or not this plan of integration and sharing will work in a country with a long history of quite the opposite remains to be seen.
It is the workers' right, but minimum wages, fuel, electricity, those are quite serious factors which impact on production costs in our country. And production costs are too high, which makes us less competitive. And then coming back, we import processed goods.
Commercial farms that are being consolidated and are getting bigger. So if you look at what is happening is that whereas, let's say 30 years ago, many of the commercial farmers were family-owned, white-owned, but family-owned. Today, more and more of these farms are owned by corporations.
The commercial farmers, yes, the land is in the hands of the commercial, predominantly white farmers. There are black farmers as well, a very small minority of them. And the assistance that is given to the black farmers is sorely lacking. The idea and what was sold to them was that once you've got land, you can produce. And in my opinion, land is but 1/3 of what you need. You're also going to need the skill, which is the other third, and then the resources. The way that government cannot find an implementable solution on the land question, it's for some reason it seems like the first process of willing buyer, willing seller did not work, and there's a trust deficit between the two poles, the landed farmers and the unlanded masses. There's a trust deficit. And for some reason, if we aren't going to get together and discuss it and come with a solution that benefits both, then the ship will sink. While I can tell you the chances are even slimmer if a black person tries to go very big. And the first obstacle, be it locusts, pests, disease, drought, floods, will destroy you. Even in businesses, if you look at your mega businesses, it sounds like all the successful high-tech businesses started in a garage. They never started in major big companies already. So, but there are many problems. There are many problems and many facets to this. And the only way it will be solved is not by one pole, one extreme pole or the other extreme pole coming up with a solution. It's going to have to be a solution where everybody is involved. Oh, I've met a couple of blacks that are by far my superior. I've also met a couple of whites that are also my superior, be it in intellect, in physique, in patience, in belief, on all aspects. The moment that you start looking at a race and saying, no, they are inferior or they are superior, you yourself are being racist. If you feel that you don't want to speak to a white because of your own opinions, then you are being racist. If you don't want to speak to a Jew or to a Muslim, then you are being racist. So we've all got baggage. You cannot be living in South Africa and say, but I'm not a racist. Everybody has got baggage. When they are walking to a place, look at me, I'm white, I've got a beard. And I immediately look like an Afrikaner. And the first people that look at me, if you had to say to them, please engage with that guy there. They say, no, I don't want to. No, that guy looks like a racist. Well, what does a racist look like? Actions speak louder than words, and see a person's actions, and only then determine if the person is what you want them to be or not to be. Person with the excuse will never produce. You find people sitting down, why aren't you planting? No, it's too much rain, or too little rain, or I don't have seeds. That person will never plant. When is the best time to do something? Now, correct. And how to plant and how to become successful? No, that's up to you. I want to share with you that you must have confidence and capacity. Somebody that has got no confidence, that says, I don't know, I'm waiting for Ramaphosa, or I'm waiting for Nonhlanhla Joy, or I'm waiting for Thabo. They're not doing now, they're waiting, they're giving excuses. Again, just a refresher, is how to cook organic pesticide. Now, I grow my own chilies, and once I've harvested them and they're dried, I make my chili powder. And I've also got my onions. Now, why do I have onions and garlic? How does it kill insects? It doesn't, but it keeps them away. Our mind is like this bottle. When it is clear, the good things are easily visible. Now I want to ask you, choose one word that you can see there. Wisdom. You choose another word. Joy. You see the words, huh? Choose another word. Peace. Choose another word. Love. When we get crossed, you've heard the people that say, my mind was clouded. This is what happens. Now you can see nothing. You can't see what is good. So I'm not saying do not get cross. You are allowed to get cross, but do not take a decision when you are cross. Calm down. Evaluate what made you cross, why it made you cross, and then address the issue. And why are some growing? I'll explain. I've already seen. I want to see who of you are going to see that. And then I'm going to show you this muti. And it smells nice, huh? But the insects, they don't like it. You also got sinus.
I've got severe sinuses.
Oh, then you must drink it. You must remove. Like a tea bag. You can make 3 cups of tea from it. Eh? 7, but the last one is not tea.
If you have excuses, then you won't produce. So it's better to do something now to prevent any excuses.
You really believe that?
Yes, I do.
And you?
I got the same answer.
Really?
Why?
The same answer?
Yes, I got the same answer because I believe that if you need to do something, you must start it now. There's no need to wait for someone to tell you. But if you believe in something, you must start that time.
Okay.
Well, at first, to be honest, I thought Thabo was a black person. And then only to find out he's a white person. But what I can say, he's a very good guy. And another thing is that whatever resources, the thing that I actually learned is that whatever resources that you have at home, use it rather than waiting for opportunities to come to you.
I think there's still a lot of hate, but for those people who still don't understand how this concept works, for people who never attended a course like this, because I mean, I think all of us here, we now have a different idea as to how to actually tackle that problem, because I don't think it's helpful to go and fight over a white person to give you land if you don't have an idea of what you're going to do with the land. Because if I have to give you a land and then you're not using it, then...
Come stand closer to me. Come on, man. The man who's prepared to go to the toilet with a snake has got power. I give a plate to one person and I give a plate to 5 people. You understand? The 5 people are going to cry. Then, the spray bottle that we showed you how to make, we're going to put in the muti. So I need you to hold this. And it's 5 milliliters per liter. So normally if this is full, it will be 10 milliliters. Inside here is about 4, so I'm going to do this. Mustn't miss. Then I will arrange with NGUBANE that we bring in enough for you guys as well. It's like, have you seen when they've got, what's that, sea grow? And the nice thing about this one, it doesn't burn the plants. Where if you use the chicken manure one, it will burn the plants. So we're only going to water these 4 or 3.5. It's because of this. So you see how these are struggling. Take a photograph of them now. So maybe just get a small bottle and take 3 capfuls. Who's the class captain for Lami? Spinach. And if by Friday, I'm very, very powerful, I'll take an after photo and then everybody's going to drink this.
Farm attacks are slowly eating away at the nation's food producers.
Your chances of being murdered if you are a commercial farmer in South Africa is larger or bigger than your chances of being killed if you lived in Caracas, which is seen as the world's most dangerous city.
Which some blame for incitement that led to the killing. But Malema was still defiantly singing them Thursday.
We can give you 10 songs. They sing about Boers and how Boers have brutalized our people.
One farmers' union insists that it's not about race and that the whole agricultural community is threatened.
I, am worried about it as a South African. Whether it's a black or white person, who is murdered is a big issue for everybody.
For 4 or 5 generations. There's nothing we can do, but we can put you through the process together with the community until we find a way out of this, because it needs to happen. So if it needs to happen, you cannot say, you cannot claim my land. No, you cannot say that. What you can say, it has to happen.
For failing to implement a comprehensive land reform program.
It's very sad that you have to come back home and lease land. I mean, I'm paying 3,400 every month for the land that's supposed to be my home.
One of the big issues is that we are a big exporter of food, but even the food that is in the country, people cannot afford it because you have a spike in global food prices. And a lot of commercial retailers are concerned that a spike in food prices might create social unrest because people are so poor in their pockets. You have electricity prices going up, you have petrol prices going up. Is this something that concerns you?
So this is actually a driveway, this isn't going to be garden.
Yeah, no, it's not going to be garden, this one.
It's a cheaper form of protein, these maggots, fly larvae. In the freeze state, because if I keep them in the buckets of the worm farm, they will freeze. So, but it must show this way. The sharp edges must show out. And on that side must show that side. Then you put one in there, one in here. Then you measure 1, 2, 3. Put another one here, and another one on that side. Then you carry on another 1, 2, 3. And you just put shade net. But because you've got lots of shade here, so you don't have to go, you can go 60 or even 40%. 40% shade net. And your spinaches and all the crops will grow twice faster under a shade net. And the birds also don't want to come inside because they don't want to be closed up.
But we also
and you close it on the sides. But you can carry on. But remember,
because we also wanted to do the nursery.
Come in. if the pipes are open. Or if you get reinforced mesh, you can do it with reinforced mesh.
Open field here.
Yes.
This side here. Just this plot.
Yeah.
So this is where we get
So
our
you
water.
harvest the water here, put it into the Jojo tank, and then irrigate from there.
Yeah.
You tried it, that's why I know.
Maybe like a dam or something.
Just build it up. Just build it up.
We decided to cut off the grass, and then we decided to use the tires and also the plastic bags so that we're not going to disturb the land because it's not ours. We're renting to buy it. Not actually renting, but we're paying for it. We got the land from Sarah Charles, who's one old lady, white lady who used to stay here. This was her house, but she has sold the house and then left this piece of land for us to work on. And then if we want to buy it, like in 3 or 4 years' time, she's going to sell it to us at 300K. So yeah, and we're interested in buying the land because we see there's so much potential here, there's so much you can do, of which most people are not into urban farming, because this is what is called urban farming, using the little materials that you have and the little space that you have to produce a lot of food. Because first of all, I don't want to be employed by someone. Well, I've been working for the past 3 years, but then I enjoy being my own CEO and my own boss more than like having someone to tell me what to do. And I felt like I can be able to do this for myself, to feed myself and to earn an income and to create jobs for me first and then for the rest of the peers and other unemployed youth. It means a lot because when I first met him, he didn't prevail himself as that white man who's doing agriculture and has got a lot of land. He told us a story which he's planting in his house, meaning he doesn't have that much land, like the 50 hectares and stuff that we used to think. If a white guy says I'm doing farming, that means he owns a land, a very big piece of land. So what he's doing is also what I'm doing here, and in a very small space, I can do a lot. So having him as my mentor is like a very big thing to me because, I mean, he's already doing these things, so it's good to have a mentor who's already walking the way and already doing these things, not just someone who assumes, this is what you should do, but he's preaching what he's practicing also. So much contribution that he can make to bridge the gap between the white farmers and the black farmers, because as the white guy who's practicing urban farming in a very small space, that means if we can get more skills, more facilitation and more trainings and train people that they can actually use a very small piece of land to make a lot of money. They don't need to have like 10 hectares, 50 hectares, and as a start. And then as the business grow, then you can be able to expand to a bigger land. So I think it's very important because it can bridge the gap between the white farmers and the black farmers and to educate them.
And the people on the different sides, it's not just two sides, there are many sides. It's people with resources, people without resources, people with knowledge and skills, people without knowledge and skills. To be able to bring them together. The land question is a big question in South Africa, and the solution is going to involve everybody. And you're going to need the bridge builders to bring them together. Skills are everything from wanting to get into agriculture, meeting up with people that know which way the agriculture is going, exposing as many people to agriculture and food security, and to be sustainable and effective.
But why you think what is special about you? I think a bridge builder needs also, because there is a divide, right? So often there is a divide because people don't understand, they don't even talk to each other. So, I mean, in that regard, talking to people, like coming to this farm, is that also like a special skill set, that you're not afraid of jumping over the divide and building a bridge, not afraid of the others?
You have to be in the divide to be able to build the bridge. You can't build a bridge without a divide. You have to be in it. And I believe I am in it. And hopefully with what I and other people are doing, people can see that there is a solution and that building bridges is the way to go. I could own land, but then I would be confined to that piece of land that I own. The bridges would be then built on my piece of land. There's vast land available in South Africa, and a lot of bridges have to be built. If it means that I should then set an example by owning a piece of land and then farming, that be it. I feel that very strongly, that to build bridges, you've got to go to where the divide is. I cannot build bridges on my own land. I've got to go look where the divide is and see if I can build bridges. And if those bridges can be built and it works, then we've got a blueprint for the way to go forward. If in the process I fail, then we've also learned that this is not the way to go about it. But I pray and I hope that this is the way it will work for South Africa.
There was little to sing about on this farm not too long ago. This is Zebediela citrus farm in Limpopo. It proves that farms transferred to original owners are not destined for collapse, that they can be commercially viable, but the process has to be properly managed. Three years ago, the Land Commission handed back this farm to its original owners. They didn't have it easy, but today they can offer valuable advice to others.
I would say those communities who have maybe can be given land now, they must try by all means to work together, and because it's a new thing, they must engage themselves to learning. They must have the strategic partner who is not really willing to enrich himself.
The grant that came, or the grants that come into the farm have helped the infrastructure. So obviously it's helped the process. And initially, obviously, we had to wait for the cash initially. But it's, you know, once we start getting the money from government or from the Land Claims Commission, it you know, put the farm into a better position and enabled the farm to develop.
This is the crucial reason why this farm has succeeded, and the grape farm Blinkwater hasn't. New black landowners need financial support and training long before the transfers go through. Otherwise, they start off completely handicapped and often don't recover. Zebediela not only supplies supermarkets in South Africa, but exports to Europe and Asia as well. Part of the profits are used for worker and community development. Zebediela has even started expanding in other directions. Their livestock of over 300 cattle is now more than a year old and is already providing an income.
If there is workers also, they must never say it because they have the land, then they take out the workers, or the workers must be retrenched. They will be making a very big mistake, because sometimes we get a starting partner who is a white person, although he's a South African, but he cannot explain to the farm owners exactly what's transpired or what is happening when irrigation, when do any other job in their mother language.
This working environment is setting new standards in the industry, a departure from the practices of the past. It is like new wine in new wineskins for the workers of Zebediela.
In terms of a whole agreement with the community, in each department we will have a management, and we will have a management staff member that's a Biahlali community staff member.